Good morning, campers. I want to do a quick video about physical karma and spiritual karma and the transition moment because it's been coming up in my recent videos, and I've done a video about this long time ago. I couldn't even find it on my TikTok to repost it. So I'm going to try to quickly explain again. I know that when I say quickly, it's probably going to be a long video. You know me, I like to talk, but let's go. Let's give it a try. So, all human beings, we all have what we call physical karma and spiritual karma. And the moment that we move through one to another, right? So let's start from explaining what each of the karma means. So the physical karma is what we mean all the elements of our physical life that we have chosen for ourselves in this body. Our soul chose in this incarnation to go through these things or have these things or experience these things in the beginning, in the first part of our life. So those can be things like who are your parents and who are your siblings, your best friends, all the soul contracts that you've signed to complete, all the karmic people that appear in your life, your life setting in general. So whether you're going to be living in this country or another country, whether you're going to be the only child, whether you're going to have both parents, whether you're going to have some sort of a perhaps health struggles, how you're going to look like, your body, female body, male body, so on and so forth, right? Some sort of a traumatic experiences that you go through, right? Because the soul wants to overcome certain frequency and learn certain lessons. But in order to do that in this lifetime, because remember, as we blend with this body and come to this world, we don't remember, right? So somehow your soul has to put you on that road to go through these experiences in order to be able to learn certain lessons. So those can be wounds, those can be traumas, those can be things that will start to trigger you. Those can also be good things and positive experiences, right? And that physical karma is when we are all, most of us, there are some beautiful people who are remembering almost from a very young age, but for most of us, we're dormant as we go through our physical karma, and our armor is being built, right? Even those who are somehow conscious and awakened, still we are living this physical experience, this human experience. So as we go through that physical karma, our body subconsciously wants to protect our soul, and that is where we build that armor that is our ego armor, consisting from responses, auto responses to traumas, to woundings. This is where attachment style, avoidant, anxious is being created. This is where father wound, mother wound, abandonment wounds, things like that are being created, and your individual auto response to these things. And then spiritual karma is the karma that we work through, that our soul wanted to work through, right? So these are the things that have to happen in the physical world. And then spiritual karma, the other half of your life, are things that your soul wanted to realize and overcome, things that your soul's purpose, right? And remember, I always say this, your soul's purpose is not an actual activity, is who you were meant to become, what your soul wanted to learn, the lessons, the wins, right? So we all have that moment in our life when we switch, for most part, from the physical karma to the spiritual karma. Sorry, my hands are shaking. To the spiritual karma, right? And again, for most part, generalizing, it's going to be somewhere around late 20s, mid 40s. You're going to have that moment. And it's going to be different for each and every one of us depending on that spiritual karma, right? So for some of us, it's going to be a full-on spiritual awakening, right? So you're going to hit that trigger, you're going to start to awaken, you're going to remember, and it can happen through many things, through divine journey, through twin flame journey, through some sort of a trauma that will make you realize and will make you remember that you are actually a soul living a human experience. You are a soul having a human, not other way around. For some people, it's going to be milder, so it's not going to be a full-on spiritual awakening. But it's going to be, sorry, a moment of their life. It can be mental trauma, it can be physical trauma, it can be an accident, it can be a loss of someone, it can be a divorce. It's different for every person. Sometimes it can even be, a loss of your job that can trigger that you start to, on some level, sort of a click. It's like, I have to change my life, I have to do something, I have to do better, I have to come down, I have to ground, I have to center, I have to make sense of my life. Do you know what I mean? And for some people, it's really, really, really going to be so subtle, so gentle. An average person wouldn't even be able to say, okay, that was that moment for me, right? And it's important to mention here that because we live in a matrix, and because we live in a very twisted, wounded, patriarchal society, people make you believe that this is that midlife crisis, that when you stop living your life, right? And people say that nonsense that, oh my God, I'm already in my 40s, I'm already in my 50s. This is the best part of your life. Physical karma, you're like a puppet. You don't have control. You have to go through things. You have to live certain things from that moment of that midlife crisis, which is actually a moment of awakening. You're being empowered. You're actually being empowered to now learn, grow, learn your lessons, expand as a soul, understand that you do live in a matrix, right? And that everything can be reinvented, right? And everything has a meaning, and everything is a gift, and you have the opportunity to start living a really truly beautiful life. So it's actually when your life begins, it's not when your life ends. And another important thing that I want to mention, that I mentioned in a couple of my readings recently, sorry, I'm blocking, we're entering the year of truth, my throat chakra is like going crazy, is that unfortunately some people will ignore that moment, right? So I always call this moment that window of opportunity, when we can jump and, like I said, on some level of consciousness say, no, I have to change, I have to release some self-limiting beliefs, some thinking patterns, some blockages, some karmic people. That 8 of Cups kind of moment, this is not serving me, this is not coming with me to the next part of my life. And people call it maturing, again, people call it aging, people call it calming down. There's actually an awakening, but unfortunately there will be some of us that won't take that opportunity and will get stuck in that physical karma. Because remember, I mentioned it's a window of opportunity somewhere between, for some it's going to be late 20s, for some it's going to be mid 40s. But it's obviously not like one window of opportunity. You jump or you don't. Sometimes it's cycles, right? I believe we work in 2-year cycles, and during that 2-year cycles, depending on your journey, you're working on a very specific thing, right? And it's being repeated, it's being sort of a work through in a different scenarios. It can be one wounding, it can be several woundings, again, depending on your path. But that moment when you get that window of opportunity from physical karma to spiritual karma, it's usually going to be that cycle of 2 years. Wake up, wake up, wake up. You have to change something. You have to change something. But some of us will be very resistant, because I always say that in that very specific moment, you have to stop pointing fingers towards everything else and other people. You have to start pointing fingers towards you in order to heal. So in that moment, if you constantly refuse to see, and you closing that 2 years big cycle, universe will say, okay, if you don't want it, that's fine. And a lot of us will get stuck in the physical karma. Those are the people that are bitter. Those are the people that are always unhappy, always complaining. They never learn. And it's okay. We don't have to, conquer it all in every lifetime. It is a little sad, but they will get more opportunities to get that right? We have all the time in the universe. Time is just an illusion. But I do believe that, we do get that window of opportunity. And if we don't jump through it on time, certain things, our higher self is like, it's okay. If you're not going to do it this lifetime, we will give it another shot. I hope it explains. If you have questions, as always, leave them in the comments. I love you so incredibly much, and I'm wishing you a wonderful day.